All right, time again for the Reporters Roundtable. Ross is back and Bud Kennedy from the Star-Telegram. Hey guys, thanks for being here. Let's start with Dwaine Caraway and Bud. So he pleads that he's been taking $450,000 worth of bribes at Dallas City Hall. What does that mean about local politics? What do you read that?
Well, this is just the latest in a recurring series of Dallas events, and it hurts inside Dallas. Inside Dallas, people say, look at these problems from South Dallas, but everywhere else, people say, look at the problems in Dallas. You have, $450,000 over 6 years. That's twice as much as the Don Hill case. That's 10 times as much as Al Lipscomb. It's a tremendous amount of consulting work, quote unquote, for a city official.
Ross, can you give us sort of like the Texas view of this? Because corruption in Dallas County and in the city of Dallas is not uncommon. Are we unlike other parts of the state?
Well, not necessarily, but this is everybody else's impression of Dallas. We don't follow Dallas government outside of, those of us who don't live in Dallas don't follow Dallas city government like we might. And the times when we do see it in headlines, it's often things like this. It gives you an impression that, every time you get another incident of this, you enforce that impression.
Ross, around the rest of the state, people say, look what happens when you let the Democrats run a city. And, that's part of the impression that there's something wrong with Democrats in Texas. It reflects on Democrats, and it reflects on, the things that Dwaine worked on, where a year has passed since Charlottesville. He did all the work on the Robert E. Lee statue. People now, some of the work he's done is really cheapened by this.
And then politically, you got to wonder if this was the last shoe to fall or if there's something else that's going to come out of this. You never know. So let's move to the Senate race, O'Rourke and Cruz. Ross, can you just sort of summarize the major week's events there for us?
The big stuff is that Cruz has come out and told his followers and his supporters, that complacency is a real problem here. He's, on one hand, discounting the polls that have him in single digits, but on the other hand, telling his supporters, look, this is a closer race than we wanted, and if Republicans don't get off the couch, the Democrats are going to sneak up on us.
What do you think about that?
Well, you're starting to see strategy move. You see Cruz with his positive ad saying it's running in Beaumont and the Houston area, saying, look at everything I did for the coast. He's working a lot in Beaumont, which is a big swing area in Texas, voted for Obama and then turned around and voted for Trump. Cruz is really starting to play checkers and pick up the districts, kind of build up a beachhead in the Houston, Galveston, Beaumont area of votes. Beto ORourke's going to have to find his place. El Paso doesn't have as many votes.
Is the money an issue, like that O'Rourke has raised so much money? Does that say as much as it sounds like, or it's just that's where we are today, that'll change?
We're waiting to see what he'll do with it, and whether it's in ground troops to get out the vote. We haven't seen, we've seen his positive ads. We've seen more Cruz ads than Beto at this point. Ross?
It tells you that the Senate race won't be decided because one candidate has more money than the other one. Beto has enough money to prosecute this race. Cruz does too, so it'll be a fair race straight up. In comparison, something like the governor's race, where the governor has a lot of money and Lupe Valdez does not, you can say that she's at a disadvantage because of money. That's not the case in the Senate race.
Guys, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. Thanks everyone for being here with Inside Texas Politics. See you next week.